Santorum. But first, listen to what he told CNN's John King last night about the prospect of female troops serving closer to the front lines.
I think that could be a very compromising situation where people naturally may do things that may not be in the interest of the mission because of other types of emotions that are involved. And I think that's probably, it already happens, of course, with the camaraderie of men in combat, but I think it would be even more unique if women were in combat, and I think that's probably not in the best interests of men, women, or the mission.
And joining us now, Republican presidential candidate Rick Santorum, the former U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania. Lots of reaction, Senator Santorum, to what you told our own John King on your opposition to women serving in combat units in the U.S. military. A very angry response from one veteran who writes this, co-founder of VoteVets.org, an Iraq War veteran. It's impossible to put into words how infuriating that is to me as someone who served twice in Iraq with women who were already serving ably in combat, even though the Pentagon didn't officially recognize that up until now. What's wrong with women serving in combat?
Well, there's lots of things wrong. There's lots of roles that women can play. In fact, roles that are in fact very dangerous roles, but it's very different than have them out there on the front lines in a deployed position where there are all sorts of physical issues. I mean, if you're out there, for example, in a group or just with two people, and you have some people, because of women have, as you know, with respect to physical capabilities, they don't have the same requirements that men do in the military, and maybe in a position where someone is injured and has to be brought back, and that's one example. The other example is just simply the emotions of men in dealing with women in combat and not focus potentially on the mission instead of in protecting a natural instinct to protect someone who's a female. I mean, these are all reasons that armies throughout the world, I mean, look at the Israeli army, which is a army that has a lot of women in it and a lot of women in very important positions, but not in combat, and there's a reason for that. And we have to look at mission effectiveness. We can't look at other reasons why people may or may not want to be in combat. We have to look at what the effectiveness and safety of those who are deployed in that mission.
The Israeli army, by the way, doesn't allow women to serve in combat units, but they do allow gays to serve openly in the Israeli military. I know you oppose gays serving in the military as well. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I've taken that position, yes.
Because, I mean, if you're using the Israeli example, as far as combat, women in combat, I assume you would accept the Israeli example that they don't have a problem allowing gays to serve openly in their military.
Well, no, not necessarily, but I sort of laid out the rationale that the Israelis used, because they in fact do have a lot more utilization of different people in their military, but they have drawn the line here because they think that potentially undermines the mission that needs to be accomplished.
A lot of women are irritated, though, because under your line of thinking, they say women shouldn't serve as firefighters or police officers because those are jobs that require them to be on the front lines and could be endangered. Their lives could be on the line as well.
Well, it's funny because my position is obviously the same position of this administration. So I don't know why they're upset with me. This has been the position of the military from the beginning of our country. So I don't know why the anger is necessarily focused on me.
I guess it's because
there's been consistent.
The military brass is thinking of formally changing the position right now, just as they recently changed the position allowing gays to serve openly in the military. Now the generals are saying, well, maybe it's time to formally allow women to serve openly, even though informally if you've been to Iraq and Afghanistan, you know they serve in very dangerous combat roles.
Of course they do. No, look, I understand that there may be situations in which they're placed in harm's way and in danger, obviously. But it's one thing to have that happen, another thing to actually have a stated policy to put women in that role.